Welcome to the Time Rich Soulful Summit. I'm Kayla Jetta, and I am so excited to be here with you. This summit is all about exploring a new way to work, live, and lead in life and beyond. Today, you're going to hear from inspiring leaders who are showing us how to build businesses and lives that value freedom, fulfillment, and flow over hustle. Each panel is designed as a conversation, not a presentation. And our speakers have each brought their zone of genius and three questions that we'll ask them so that you can hear the most powerful insights that they want to share with you. So you're going to walk away with real stories, fresh perspectives, and practical insights that you can apply today. So let's get to know today's panelists. We have Eda Hardy, who is a trauma-informed subconscious business breakthrough expert and founder of the Inner Self Mastery Protocol, helping entrepreneurs rapidly clear subconscious blocks and scale without burnout. Joining us, we also have Miller, founder and CEO of Healthy Money, Happy Life, legacy wealth strategist, financial wellness expert. It started 2.5 billion in assets and helped over 6,000 families avoid financial disaster. We have Maureen St. Germain, internationally acclaimed ascension teacher, best-selling author, and founder of St. Germain Mystery School, known for teaching on sovereignty, higher connection, and the Akashic Records. Joy Buffalini, creator of Simplify to Multiply method. Joy helps women build simple, scalable businesses by owning their hidden genius, with over 3 million generated in her own business while raising boys with significant needs. And Lori Seymour, host of Wisdom Talk Radio, international executive and founder of the Baca Institute. Lori is the of Touch. Oh, Lori, am I saying that right?
Pareya.
Tureya, thank you. Apologies, I didn't double check that. Tureya Touch and Tureya Meditation, and the creator of the Quantum Connection Process, guiding people to activate source connection and build lives aligned with their divine blueprint. So welcome to all of you. Talking about the shifts that each of you have brought into this work and how you've really redefined success for yourself and others. So Joy, I'd love to start with you. How did you build a business that generated 3 million in 5 years while special need twins?
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say I don't like saying those numbers, but I like saying it to inspire others. So I was that person when I started my business that um, did not believe that I could actually have a successful business having special needs twins, one of them like in a wheelchair, wearing diapers, all of that from birth. And it was one of the things that got me on the entrepreneurial path. And for me, I think it's important to know like I had some role models of like, you can have obstacles in life and you can still build a business that supports your lifestyle and your family. And for me, it was really about putting my blinders on and really keeping things simple. Hence, simplify to multiply came to be. And, there's so much. I love the name of the summit, by the way. Time rich, soulful, because that is so important when you're raising a family that you can get caught up in the hustle, get caught up in doing all of the things, and really focusing on like what's going to move the business forward today in the few hours that I have, because family wasn't going to be sacrificed. And I know everybody that's here is about, family and lifestyle priorities. And I serve women who do transformational work. And that was really important to me as well. Like, I want to get more of them out into the world. So, how do I best optimize my own expertise in really helping people that are doing that important work out in the world? So, I would say keeping it simple and saying no, 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 no. When you say no to so many things, then you have the opportunity to say yes to the things that are actually aligned for you. And there's like so many shiny objects out there now, so many things we could do that really don't fill our soul. So I would say the key was really keeping it simple. Like I have this corny I think we lost our host temporarily, but maybe, oh, there she is. Great. I have a cheesy little example of like, I put on my simple glasses. Like, okay, wait. There's always an easier way. There's always a simpler way. Brain, go find it, God, source, universe, help me see that simpler way. And really staying connected to that and ignoring all the noise out there made all the difference in the world. So I'm excited to share that, and I'll keep talking just a little bit more until Kayla joins us back on. Can you hear me, Kayla? Okay, not quite yet. So I'll just jump, if it's okay, I'll jump to my second question because it's related to the first, because I want to give everybody else time. Um, the other question that I was asked was, why did it take you 5 years to finally build to your first six figures? It took me 5 years of working really hard. Well, it's because I was doing the opposite of what I was just talking about. I took every course, I tried every strategy. Well, they're running ads, they're doing this, this guru has this type of website, and I hated it. And I never made more than $20,000 in a year. And with special needs family, like I needed to make money or go get a job. That's no fun. So yeah, I think I got into that hustle mentality that's so prevalent out there. And if you feel like you're starting to step your foot into it, or you're like, oh no, like I don't have this, time-rich, soulful business that I thought, you can always readjust, you can always redirect, you can always step back and start saying no to the things that aren't aligned.
Okay. So success, I was asked about how can success inside external systems can feel empty, and how can we use sovereignty to redefine time rich and soulful? And I totally get what Joy is talking about, and I love your work. I've been following it for a while, Joy. Um, so I see sovereignty as learning to recognize that you can build your own architecture. So many of us follow the architecture that was put in front of us, and we act like that's what we need to do because we've inherited it. But once we become at this level where we're using our experiences and our life awareness, we have the ability to use our midlife skills and wisdom. And then we're still looking at the old systems. And finally, in time rich awareness, we align our hours to our situation and our needs, which becomes so much more productive and effective. And when every hour reflects who you truly are, time stops being a clock and starts being a current that you steer.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone. For those of you watching, I am Molly. I'm the integrator on Team Rise. I am popping in here because we are dealing with Wi-Fi issues, which can happen. So we are um, doing our best to pivot, which often happens in our business. So this is a great learning experience for everyone, and just to show you that these things happen no matter what. So again, I am Molly, and I am going to pick this back up. So we are now going to go into Eda. Am I saying that correct?
It's Eda.
Eda? Okay,
Yes.
perfect. All right, Eda. So for you, I'd love to know, can you share more on your personal journey and what led you to discover the power of subconscious programming and create the inner self mastery protocol?
Sure, sure. So let's go back about 20 years. At the time, my life looked really perfect on the outside. And I started computer programming at the age of 15. And after finishing university, I became a qualified accountant and worked with some of the top global companies. And I was married with 2 children. So from outside, everything was perfect. But unfortunately, despite all these successes, inside I felt very unsafe and quite unhappy. You see, I was abandoned as a baby, and without the foundation of that safety and conditional love from your parents, my brain learned at a very young age that the only way to feel safe was to achieve more, only to rely on myself and be perfect and never ever stop. Keep going despite everything. So it was like driving one foot on the accelerator and the other one on the brake. And the accelerator was me kind of pushing forward all the time, achieving without any brakes. The handbrake was my subconscious constantly scanning for danger, keeping me on high alert. Basically, I was not even aware that I was stuck in this fight, flight, and freeze response like many, many people. And unfortunately, of course, when you are stuck in this kind of state, constant stress floods your body with adrenaline and cortisol. And eventually, as a result, my health, my system broke down completely. I became bedbound, very depressed, and burnout. And I tried many, many different things, and nothing was working for me. And that was a breaking moment, forced me to search for real solution. So one day, lying in this bed in this unbearable pain, I made a promise to the universe and myself, and I said, I'm going to find a method that going to create transformation in minutes. So we don't need to go to therapy or counseling for years and years, because I didn't want anyone to go through the same struggles, the same pain that I went through. So I made a promise. And I kept my promise. And after years of studying that I could find, investing over £180,000 in my training and healing, I discovered the missing piece that most people overlook. And the missing piece is very interesting. So I realized actually true change and transformations happens when we turn off the alarm the brain has been sounding since our childhood. And that happens in the subconscious mind, and we're not even aware of it most of the time. And this is how the Inner Self Mastery Protocol was born. And it's the method I wish I had when I was at that rock bottom. Now I use it to, of course, help others to turn off their alarm and finally release their handbrake without being kind of stuck in that fight and freeze response, so they can move forward and just create the life they want, create the relationship they want, the business they want, without all the self-sabotage. And it's amazing. Yeah, missing piece for me was the subconscious, and I know how to reprogram it.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I do feel a lot of us entrepreneurs get to a place like that and are not sure where to turn. So that is really wonderful that you shared that um, as a next step for people. All
Thank you.
right. So yes, let's go into now, Lori. What does remembrance mean, and why is it so important for people right now?
Oh, thank you, Molly. My newest book is called Unconditional Remembrance, Your Connection to Source. And that's why I wrote that, is because of how I have come into a different place around remembrance and what that means and how it's changed my life. Because remembrance is not about recalling the past. It's really about connecting with that deeper intelligence that is already within us. It's our connection with Source. Growing up, especially at a very early age, I felt this pull of, I knew something to be true. And at the same time, the outer world did not reflect that to me at all. And what I saw, because my father died when I was very, very young, was struggle. My mother taught me a lot about how life was struggle. And in that, I never felt the love. I never felt loved. And where I had known love was with my father. So he died, and so it must mean that that doesn't exist somehow. And fast forward through years of being a psychotherapist, being on a spiritual journey, very much so, through some different experiences, I had a direct experience of that sense of unconditional love, of what that felt like, what that meant in my body, and how it changed my life. And we know that in our everyday lives, we're fragmented. What are we going to make for dinner? How are we going to do this? What new business plan needs to come into being? Who do I need to bring onto my team? How am I going to make my mortgage payment? I mean, whatever dimension of life, there are all those pulls on us. And at the same time, when we start to recognize that there's a bigger picture than simply the struggle or simply the things that are pulling on us, then we start to gather back into ourselves the pieces of us that we have forgotten. And that brings in a whole new level of coherence into the body. And it brings us to that still point within us where clarity and wisdom already exist. And it's there that we get to discover that sense of remembrance, that sense of our own inner connection with what can give us direction, what can give us that wisdom, what can point us in the way towards making real what it is that we want to do in the world. And it's where we start to live from the center of who we are, not from stress or struggle or pushing or expectation, because we start to relax into a new way of being.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that and bringing that awareness to light. That is definitely very important. All right. And then we'll end this first round with Chris. Can you explain the concept of crash proofing finances and how it can help protect people's assets during market downturns?
Absolutely. So when I first started my practice 35 years ago, and I was helping a widow with her living trust, and found out that she didn't have any money, but that she had a house and needed a trust, and asked the attorney if he could give her a deal. He said no. That pushed me into a whole other mindset, realizing the whole money system is a disaster. And over these years, I've really realized that most people end up losing their assets before they cross over. So the conversation is money's energy. And what's happened is it's been so volatile and nasty that people are scared of it and they don't really want to deal with any of it. It's like on the bottom of the list. So I've helped thousands of people protect their assets. But one of the things that I saw was that people that came into my office to start, say, their estate plan were coming in at 50, 60, and 70, starting their retirement plan. What is wrong with this, right? I thought. You go to school, you learn how to make money, you get out of school. What do? You go make money and give it to some guy to gamble. And then when you get to your third and fourth quarter, you're going to be in a roulette wheel paying taxes from your qualified accounts at ordinary income. So you don't really have what you think you do. And honestly, it's hard to imagine when you're 20 what it's like at 40, let alone at 60. We just aren't built that way, let alone have the time to learn all of this. So I invite people to learn about the safe money strategies, which it isn't a one size fits all. It kind of depends on where your assets are. Realize what you have in your 401k, and the stock market is a roulette wheel. And so, sure, you can have risky money, but you need to have safe money. There's products out there that create tax-free income. There's places that you want to make sure that you're not going to lose your assets, because the whole thing is resetting. As you probably are aware, this planet is in a shift with health, wealth, and peace of mind. And that's why I make, my company's Healthy Money, Happy Life, to make it an empowering conversation, we want to do get our assets in shape. And it's the same thing as, budgeting is saving. It's the same energy. And we can break that lock that the world has on us and be empowered and learn how to use money as an energy and learn places where you can protect it so that you can create income you'll never outlive. And so that's what I do with people one-on-one, is financial fitness strategies, and to see what they need, because you know what? Everybody's different.
Amazing. Thank you. I definitely see the money conversation as something that comes up quite a bit with the people that Kayla and Lisa work with, and having to shift how they view it and see it. So I love that you shared that with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So now let's talk about the deeper patterns that hold us back and what it takes to move beyond them. So let's start with you, Eda. And why do so many entrepreneurs get stuck in procrastination, self-sabotage, or fear, even when they're doing all the right things? What's that first real step to breaking through those invisible blocks?
Sure. I mean, answer is very simple. So what I see is normal. Entrepreneurs are trying to fix this subconscious problem with a conscious tools. So they rely on tools like strategy, mindset, traditional talking therapies, the discipline. But if we think about it, none of those really change anything. It change any of the rules that we created as in our childhood, because these are all in our subconscious mind. So if we think about it, we are trying to solve a 95% of the problem with a 5% solution. So I'm just going to try to explain a bit like a iceberg. So if you think of your mind like an iceberg, the 5% we see above the water is the conscious mind. So this is your logic, your willpower, your goals. And the other 95% is the hidden below the surface. So this is your subconscious mind. This is where your deep-seated beliefs, your traumas, your fears, your emotional patterns are stored. So this is the part that running the show. So we cannot outthink a subconscious pattern with our conscious mind. And that's where the problem is. That's what we're trying to do. So I'll give you a little example. So imagine as a child, you've been laughed at by a classmate because you made a mistake while reading out loud or answering a question. It happens to many, many people. And in that moment, your brain installs a rule. Mistakes are dangerous. Being visible isn't safe. So if you make a mistake, others will make fun of you. So what happens is that alarm gets stuck in your nervous system. And years later, when you're about to, launch a new product or raise your prices or take your business to the next income level, your brain pulls the handbrake and saying, this is dangerous, we're not going there. So as a result, what happens is you procrastinate, over prepare, or hold back, not because you don't know what to do, but the alarm is still sounding in the background, keep saying, this is dangerous, this is dangerous. So that's why we self-sabotage, that's why we procrastinate. It's very, very simple. But this is all automated. We don't realize it. So the lasting solution is not the push harder, but turn the alarm off. So with the inner self-mastery protocol, what we do is we go back to the original moment. The brain set that rule, set the alarm, we update it, we reprogram it, and we tell the brain that it is safe to be visible now. It's safe to hit the next income ceiling. It's safe to fail. So these are big fears. So when the alarm turns off, behavior shifts naturally. You behave differently. So we stop procrastinating, we feel comfortable about saying without the guilt or anything, and everything becomes so much easier. Even rest becomes restorative instead of stressful, because we know most entrepreneurs find it very difficult to take time off work. And instead of being stuck in the same income level, you can finally break through your income ceiling with ease. I see it all the time. I'll give you another example from one of my clients, another coach. She was stuck in her income ceiling for about 10 years because unconsciously, she was not even aware of it, she believed success meant danger. Within 3 weeks of releasing this core alarm, core belief, she doubled her income without any problem. So nothing in her strategy changed. What changed was her subconscious programming and her nervous system. So once her brain felt safe to make more money, the handbrake came off and her business just moved forward with ease. There was nothing energetically blocking her. And the result like this can happen as little as one session. One session can turn off the alarm. So we don't need to be stuck in this fight and flight response all the time. This is, for me, this is like groundbreaking. This is going to change the whole world. That's why I think I'm so excited about this.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. That is a really great thing to learn. And often, as entrepreneurs, we think we need a new strategy or have to try all these different things. And really, it's probably our subconscious programming, as you mentioned. So, thank you for sharing that tool. That will be definitely helpful for all of our listeners here. Now, I'd like to go to Chris. And I'm wondering, what are the top three fundamental things that people often overlook when they're trying to protect their assets and secure their financial futures?
Thank you, Molly. Well, I call them the three secrets for safe money and a fabulous future from my book. And honestly, it isn't secret. It's just not talked about because, taxes and death are a hard thing to talk about. But again, this is all a mindset. Transformational people are changing the way that they think about things. It's amazing what that will do. And what I've found over 3 decades is literally the three things that people miss are making sure that they have the right paperwork. It shocks me how many people have a house. Maybe they have a lot of money, maybe not, but they don't have a living trust. They don't have powers of attorney for financial health care. Hey, we just went through a pandemic. How many people got their health care? Because that's very important. Guardianships for minor children. Mom and dad go out to dinner and don't come back. Who's going to take care of the kids? And it's we live in a denial, like it's never, I'm never going to die, or this is never going to happen to me. It happens to all of us, and is a mindset shift when you see that this is really a good thing to take the time to learn about all of this so that you can protect your assets. The other two things that I've seen, and it's really hard because my family was a nightmare of my own business, is I have to take a deep breath. It's a catastrophic illness because they didn't want long-term care. They're never going to go to a nursing home. My daddy worked till he was 91. They travel the world into their into their 80s. But my mommy got cancer and went through 10 years of it and went through millions of dollars because they didn't have long-term care. And you don't want to go to a nursing home. You want to stay in your own home. So you're spending all this time earning and making money. You want to make sure that you're saving some for all of these issues and setting up these funds that can pay you tax free, which brings me to the third, what I call secret, which isn't a secret: protection of assets. So you could literally grow your money without risking it. And it is what the 1% take big chunks of money and they get them into these different financial, a lot of insurance products have programs where they can take these chunks of money and create tax-free income for life. And inside of these things, there's also the catastrophic, there's cash, real estate people take loans become their own bank. They can literally control their money. And the biggest point of it is there's a bottom. So if the market goes up 5, you get 5. The market goes down 5, nothing happens. You're only catching the upside of these programs. And the beautiful thing is some of these things literally have been around since the Middle Ages, but only the wealthy has known about it. So my goal is to share the secrets of the 1% to the 99.
Amazing. Those are some really, really helpful things that I think a lot of people can definitely relate to. All right, now let's
Absolutely.
go over to Lori. And I'm wondering, how does the physical body respond to this remembering?
Thanks, Molly. I'm so struck with what a diverse group we have here. And it's wonderful because everybody is speaking to some other or some different aspect of what we're all trying to do, which is to be present, to be fully who we are, and to shift that into remembrance, to remember the truth of who we are, the fullness of who we are. And that this question is important to me around the physical body is that we know when we're what could call fragmented or stressed, the body's tense, our breathing is shallow, we're reactive, we don't respond to things, we don't have the capacity for that because we're in that reactive mode. And my background, my training is as a psychotherapist, my initial training. And so I remember trying to work with people with all those other ways that I learned as a psychotherapist. As we move into remembrance, what happens is that the nervous system begins to settle. The breathing, your breathing slows. The heart rhythm and the brain waves start to synchronize. And when you are in that place, well, my experience is that people describe that as a kind of lightness, clarity, spaciousness, and it's even like their cells can begin to breathe again. Now, think about that. Think about that feeling, taking that feeling into whatever it is you're creating in the world. And particularly as an entrepreneur, you don't have the luxury of, oh, I can do my work in whatever way I want and I'll still get my paycheck. Um, I loved that time when I had that aspect of it, but it didn't allow me to have that fullness of using my own creative intelligence. So the truth is that our cells are capable of bringing in and receiving more and more and more light. And that when that begins to happen, when you allow yourself to get quiet and settle and to do your own inner exploration, your own inner research, and to be more relaxed, you become more than relaxed, you become resonant. The cells become resonant, thus enabled to receive more light. And it's as if our own body becomes a transmitter of harmony, of that resonance. So again, think about that as you are there in your everyday work life. That translates into you being able to create more easily, to accessing your own creative intelligence, so that whatever it is that you are doing, it's not about another strategy, as someone spoke about. It's not about adopting a new idea. It's really coming from the inside out to what it is that you are here to create.
Awesome, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Now, Joy, you may have answered this question already. So if you already answered this, you can just give any other insight that you want to. But the question I have for you is, why did it take you 5 years to finally hit your first six figures in business?
I did hit on that one earlier, but if you want me to jump into my other one, if that would be great, about standing out. How do you stand out online in 2025? What does that look like as an entrepreneur? And all of us, we've probably been around the block and online for quite a while, and things have changed so much, and it's so overwhelming. There's so much out there. It's like, how do we know where to focus? How do we know how to stand out? Because I know everybody in this room and probably everybody watching this, you have some really important gifts to give to the world. But how do people find out about them when there's so much? And I don't know about you, I'm 50. I'm not really interested in like going on TikTok and pointing, and I don't even do stories or reels. I'm just not like that kind of person. Just let me write or maybe do a live video. So I'm kind of old school. Like I haven't really adopted all the things, and I'm actually glad that I haven't. I've still been able to build a really successful business, and I want to encourage all of you to really tap inside of you. You don't have to be everywhere and every channel and every place to stand out. As a matter of fact, that can dilute your focus, that can really drain your energy, that will not help you feel time rich or soulful. To pick one or two places that you can be consistent at and really do some deep dive into what is unique and different about you. Because there's a lot of people that maybe call themselves this kind of coach or this kind of mentor or this kind of expert, right? It might feel like, well, there's so many other people doing similar work as me. Yes, there are, but there's no you. And what I find with my clients is each of them, once I get to know them, because they do transformational work, like the work they are actually doing in sessions with clients, the things, the tools, the modalities, the wisdom they bring to the table is remarkable. And I've worked with thousands of women over the years. Like every time I'm like, oh my goodness, everybody needs to know about this, because looking at their website or looking at their social, media platform, I would never know how awesome they really are. So I'm going to invite those of you listening today to really own your unique gifts. Like listen in on delivering to a group or to a client. Look at your notes. Like there are some things that you're doing that are just like breathing to you they're second nature that you're almost like become an unconscious competent at because you're so good at it. So to stand out, I would say in 2025, really be conscious of like, what is this that I'm walking clients through? What am I actually doing to create the transformation? What are these things that I'm doing that are really unique to me? And most of you have probably curated your work and created your own, methodologies and your own, view on things to help create transformation. To really own that and let that stand out, put it in your words, because the people following you, they're not a fly on the wall in your client sessions. Maybe, they can't really get it unless you effectively communicate it. So it doesn't have to be hard, but it just takes intention.
That was so, so good. Thank you for sharing that. Let's end this round with Maureen. And I'm wondering, we hear a lot about self-care and boundaries, but sovereignty goes deeper than that. How does living from sovereignty change the way we work, create, and lead beyond midlife?
Well, I think self-care and boundaries are really important, but they're still acting defensively. And I love following Joy because we're so aligned in understanding that once you figure out who you are, it isn't a matter of fitting in to some system. It's about radiating who you are and leading from your center so fully that you're not just reacting to life, you're actually architecting it and creating it your unique essence. So in midlife and beyond, which we're speaking to this group, I'd like to think that we get to choose projects, we get to choose partnerships and creations that amplify who we are. And the rest just falls away naturally. And so you're not worried about saying no. It just isn't a match. And that's one of the things that I really talk about. I've written three books on ascension, and it's one of my 8 books that I've written about. And I talk a lot about the fact that we choose how we speak. It makes a difference. And one of the most important phrases that I tell people is stop saying, I can't do that, or I don't want to do that, or it doesn't work for me, and say it's not a match. If it's not a match, it's not a match. We go in a store to match a sweater. We don't settle for a skirt or a pair of pants that don't match. We wait till we find the match. And so sovereignty is about your energy not leaking, but radiating from your core. And finally, I want to give everyone an idea of what this really means when you think about your language, and that is stop saying, I have to. I have to pick up the kids. I have to meet my partner. I have to write this report. I have to make dinner. And instead, use words that put the power back in you. Because when you say, I have to, you've offloaded your power to whoever or whatever will take it, the systems, the family, the boss, whatever it is. And when we choose to say, I get to meet my beloved for dinner, I'm making a very special project for my clients, I'm in a deadline that I've chosen for myself, it changes everything.
I love that. And that is such a simple shift that really makes a huge impact. So thank you for sharing that. Now let's go into our final round of questions, which focuses on the practical shifts and future visions that help us embody alignment and growth. So let's start with Chris. What are some common money myths that people hold on to, and how can debunking these help in crash proofing their finances?
Well, we do spend most of our time making money, and we're all here basically transforming the way we look at money because it's energy, and success isn't just $1 million, it's heart connections. And that's really the value of being on earth, is loving each other. And so that consciousness is being downloaded. I see a whole conscious shift happening, even in the money as it is in the health. And this conversation will allow you to take the time for you to learn, because there's a little learning. I have tons of videos that I can share with people and everything, to take the time for yourself and empower yourself around the safe money, because the myths that you've been taught are all lies. The 401k, the IRAs, they're all tax bombs. See, I've gone through all the decades, right? I'm moving right along. And so I've seen each decade. And when you get in your third quarter, like my generation, the boomer generation, people have lost 40, 60%, and they're in their 70s and 80s. Now everybody's in that fear, are they going to run out of money? Right. And living in that fear is not going to give longevity. It actually did a report that people that had annuities lived longer. Why? Because they knew they were going to have a guaranteed income. So it's not just about a product. It's making sure that the assets are safe, what you have, and that you take the money and make sure that you have your rainy day money. I'd say at least for a year. Things have shifted and there's going to be a lot of bumps. I'm an optimist, but we are where we are. And like I said before, the three secrets, or the three things I want you to focus on, are making sure that you have safe money. You can play risk if you want to, but have something safe. Get something also like precious metals, and gold and silver is a good 10% of what you have. Make sure you have the right paperwork. You have minor children, guardianship. Make sure that everything is covered. So it's like, I am not a financial planner. I'm a strategist. So I'm looking at the whole picture, and you're in the little boat trying to get across the river. You want to make sure that boat gets to the other side, and there are holes in the boat. And so that's what I've been blessed to be able to see and help empower people around, because you know what? When your money is healthy, you're happy. Not that money brings joy. Joy is a different thing when you have peace of mind with the spirit. But I'm talking about happy, where you don't have to worry about money, and that you can learn about creating income you'll never outlive. And that's my financial wellness program that I teach everywhere where I go. So I'm honored to be able to share with everybody today the create income you'll never outlive.
I love that. Thank you so much. Now let's go back over to Maureen. In a world full of external narratives and hierarchies, what are the first steps someone can take to reclaim their own authorship so their leadership in this stage of life is both authentic and liberated? You're
I
on
think the
mute.
first step is to be um, totally aware of what's going on around you and to recognize that you may have subscribed to rules that you didn't agree to. And I'll give you a little example. Maybe your mother always made sure that dinner was at 6, or that everybody was dressed a certain way. And you perpetuate it without even realizing that, wait a minute, we don't need to operate that way just because everyone else did. I remember I raised 4 sons by myself, and I was sitting in the kitchen of the share house that we were in for a family wedding, and I looked at one of my sons, and he said, we bought all these groceries, but then I was afraid to open the box because you always had a rule. If the graham crackers were open, we could help ourselves. But if they weren't open, don't open that box because maybe it's needed for something else, right? We had these crazy rules. So that was an example of a rule that I gave to my sons that they now didn't need. The second step is to have a inner blueprint. And I think all of the coaches here are speaking to that and helping each of us learn that we can create our own inner blueprint that sets out our time, our energy, and our resources on a piece of paper that we look at, that we remind ourselves, this is my plan. This is what I care about. And this makes me happy and fulfills me. And then finally, choosing to live the blueprint, because that becomes your leadership skill and your status in your own mind, right? And so your blueprint isn't just a plan, It's an invitation and an intention for others to reclaim their own as well. So we lead by example.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Now let's move over to Lori. And how does living in remembrance change the way we show up for others in relationships, work, and the world?
It's a big question, isn't it? And I'm just thinking about what Maureen just said about how we show up. And there's something in this question about when we remember that we are a part of source. We are of source. We are not separate. So what changes is that we stop feeling so separate from other people. We look around and we see separation mirrored back to us in every newscast that I watch. Yes, I do watch the news. Um, and and it's stunning. I mean, stunning in not a very good way. That's what's there in the field, that sense of separation. But when we go beyond what we think we see, to remember that original blessing, that original connection, what changes is that our own creativity starts to flow more naturally because we're operating in resonance. We're remembering that, oh, I am part of this bigger picture. I am part of this, of source. And therefore, I can turn to source to feel that support. I can feel that support and I can ask whatever questions I need to ask and get that guidance from within myself. And part of what I teach is I teach people how to connect with their own inner guidance system so that they can create more of who they are with less effort, less struggle, because that sense of remembrance radiates. And when you embody that, when you carry that in the world, it creates a kind of harmonic echo, if you will, that makes it easier for other people then to return to that state of remembrance. Your clients, your family, your neighborhood. It's why I started doing these I could call them salons of life. I used to call them living room salons, but in French, where I do some work, that means salon, so that didn't quite fit. And so what it is about collecting with small groups of people and to have that physical experience of remembrance that carries over then into everyday life. Because this is not about taking a spiritual path and separating from the rest of the world. It's not about sitting on a mountaintop. It really is about sitting in the essence of who you are as that expression of source in the world, if you will. And so it becomes a collective imprint that radiates outward.
Amazing. And I'm really seeing a lot of connections of looking at who you are. So I love how that really flowed between a lot of you. So that's amazing. We'll end this round with Eda. So for those who are ready to work on their own subconscious blocks or help others do the same, how can listeners connect with you and what does that next step look like?
Great question. So, if anyone watching this thinking, oh my God, that's me, I've been driving with the handbrake on, the next step is to stop coping with the alarm and just switch it off. And there are two ways that I can help you do that. So the first one is my deep diving transformation program. This is a 12 weeks program. And this is for entrepreneurs and coaches who are stuck in procrastination, self-sabotage, or fear, or income ceiling. So in a single session, we often find the exact moment the alarm was installed in your subconscious, and we update the old rule, and we change everything about anything that you're going through in your life. It can be relationship, it can be self-love, it can be business, career, whatever it is. There is always an answer to it. So what we do is we move from panic to calm action. We set boundaries without guilt. We start feeling safe, being visible. We're no longer afraid of failing or succeeding. We can finally break through the income ceiling instead of kind of circling around it over and over and again. And the second way is the subconscious reprogramming with the inner self mastery certification. So this is for coaches, the therapists, the service-based entrepreneur who wants to deliver this rapid, lasting results and step into kind of being this high-paid go-to expert in their field. So this training is trauma-informed and is also polyvagal informed as well. And you learn precise 8-step protocol to work safely when trauma shows up. So sessions stay very effective. You don't worry about being out of your depth. You know exactly how to reprogram the subconscious to help your clients to create this breakthrough in minutes, not years, but just in minutes, because everything happens in the sessions and they have this profound change. They feel like the whole weight being lifted off their shoulders. I mean, unless you experience it, it's difficult to kind of explain it, but it's so amazing. And it's easiest way to connect with me is via my website, masteryourfuture.co.uk. So you can find all these details there as well. So we can actually break your income ceiling without years of mindset work. So if you feel you're stuck, get in touch.
Amazing. What a powerful impact that you make with people. So thank you for sharing that. Now, before we close, I do want to highlight the generous free gifts from all of our panelists today. I highly recommend looking at everything they're offering because you all shared so much incredible knowledge today, and we all could learn so much more from you all. So let me share. So Eda has shared how to break your income ceiling without years of mindset work, which is a free 10-minute training that reveals what's really keeping you stuck and how to shift it in minutes. Chris, she has a financial fitness strategy session to uncover money leaks, protect your assets, and design a lifelong income stream. Maureen is giving you the divine government meditation, a sacred practice to align with truth, harmony, and your inner authority. Joy is offering the 4 C's tool, which is a simple daily framework to stay top of mind and consistently enroll new clients. And then finally, Lori is offering a mini course with easy exercises to strengthen your inner connection with source and amplify your ability to create. Now you'll find all the links to these incredible free gifts below this video. Again, highly recommend downloading and getting all this incredible knowledge from everyone today. So what a powerful panel, you guys. Thank you so much, Eda, Chris, Maureen, Joy, and Lori for the wisdom that you shared today. And my final thing to share is just the gift from Kayla and Lisa, which is the Confident Entrepreneur Challenge. This is a free 3-day challenge. That's a live training, which is happening November 3rd through 5th from 1 to 2 p.m. Central Time each day. And it's going to be talking about the inner work that fuels both courage and cash flow. So day 1 is all about dropping judgment in the 6 confident calibrators. Day 2 is owning your divine design. And day 3 is consistency, visibility, and profit. So again, you can register for all of our free gifts below this video. We definitely love to see you there. Thank you. Thank you everyone so much for joining us for panel 3. Remember, you are meant to create success that's both time rich and soulful. So we'll see you in the next session.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.